Transformers: Rise of the Beast is a new action blockbuster that just came out this weekend. This is directed by Stephen Cable Jr. You might remember him from like Creed 2. He directed that movie. I like Creed 2. Creed 2 was pretty good. This film has a pretty good cast. Anthony Ramos, Dominique Fishback, you might remember her from Judas and the Black Messiah, among other movies. Peter Cullen is back as the iconic voice of Optimus Prime. You've got Ron Perlman, Michelle Yeoh, Pete Davidson. I mean, you know, it's pretty good casting. I'm not entirely sure if this movie is connected to the other ones. I know it's kind of connected to Bumblebee, which came out a few years ago. So this movie takes place in Brooklyn in the 90s. It follows Anthony Ramos' character. He plays a character named Noah. Him and Elena, played by Dominique Fishback, all of a sudden get swept up into this huge Transformers adventure. And this mysterious item is discovered by Elena, and then all of a sudden these evil robots are trying to get this item. Now the Autobots and the humans have to team up with these animal Transformers. Anyone who has seen Beast Wars knows who I'm talking about. They have to team up with the Maximals to basically find and protect this item and keep it out of the hands of the bad guys. Because if the bad guys get it, the entire world ends, as you would expect. I think it's been 5 years since Bumblebee, so it's been a while since we've had a new Transformers movie. I definitely have a hot and cold relationship when it comes to the Transformers in live action. I like some of the stuff that Michael Bay did. Some of the stuff I wasn't a huge fan of. I did have a good time with this movie. I think it's fun. I think Transformers fans are gonna love it, but I think general audience fans, most people are probably gonna get a kick out of this movie too. I do appreciate the setting that this movie was in, Brooklyn and the 90s. I think both of those add to the culture of the movie, if there is such a thing. I love the movie references that they had in this movie that date back to the 90s. If you're a big movie nerd like me, you're gonna appreciate stuff like that. And the Brooklyn setting definitely added to the atmosphere of the movie. It added to the swag and energy of the characters. It added to the energy of the overall movie. I have a basic rule in life. If you are a blockbuster and you utilize Wu-Tang, Nas, TLC in your soundtrack, I can't really say anything bad about you as a movie. A lot of times in previous Transformer movies, the human element has actually been the weakest part of these movies. It's hard to focus on what you're actually there for, which is giant robots beating the shit out of each other. That's not the case in this movie. I think they did a pretty good job at making you care about the main heroes, the two main humans in this movie, especially Anthony Ramos' character Noah. I thought that they did a good job setting up the reasons why you would feel invested in him. He brought it in the emotional scenes. He had good comedic timing, which I'm not sure that I expected from him. Dominique Fishback is one of my favorite actresses working today. I thought she was really good in the movie too. She's not given as much to work with as Noah, but she still feels like a valuable contributor to the movie. And obviously all of the Autobots are there and they're great. Peter Cullen is a legend as Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime is kind of a miserable fuck in this movie though. I would say the standout Autobot is definitely Mirage, voiced by Pete Davidson. Pete Davidson, I know, is kind of divisive as a comedian. I get it. Mirage is definitely one of the more interesting and funny characters in the movie. Visual effects work here is polished and clean, and it looks good, and it seamlessly blends with the action to create some pretty fun sequences. I don't think the action sequences are on the level of, say, Michael Bayhem, but they are fun and they are accessible and they're easy to watch, and there's definitely going to be some crowd-pleasing moments for people that watch this movie. Having said that, when it comes to the story and the script of this movie, it's bare bones stuff. It's the bare minimum, and that can be kind of boring. They don't reinvent the wheel here. They're not doing anything new or fresh or interesting. It's a movie with a MacGuffin, and the bad guys want the MacGuffin, and the humans and the good guys want the MacGuffin, and the movie is about a battle over keeping the MacGuffin out of the other party's hand. You've seen that story play out in a bunch of other Transformers movies, so it's gonna feel overly familiar, maybe even formulaic to some people. Being that it is a 90s movie, there's gonna be some corn, there's gonna be some cheesy moments, there's gonna be some stuff where you're kind of cringing at some of the dialogue here or there. I would say the biggest disappointment with this movie is actually the way that the film decides to handle the Maximals. The Maximals are in the movie, but they really don't get a lot to do, and a lot of them don't really get fleshed out as characters. Optimus Primal and Air Razor are probably the only two that have something going on. But the movie is called Rise of the Beasts, and the beasts don't really rise. They just kind of, they're in the movie. Like, they all have some fun action stuff, but that's pretty much it. The movie should not be called Transformers: Rise of the Beast. It should be called Transformers: The Beast Exists. Some of the action here is just filmed in the most bland, boring way possible. I do feel like they're missing that chaotic element that made some of the Michael Bay movies a little bit more rewatchable. The third act of the movie is pretty much just a bunch of gray CGI nonsense. This is decent action, but I just feel like they could have done more. They could have filmed it in more interesting ways. They could have brought a little bit more creative flair to some of these sequences. Having said that, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think most Transformer fans are gonna get a real kick out of this one, and I was definitely entertained themed throughout the movie. There's no denying that. Transformers: The Beasts Exist was a pretty fun movie, not gonna lie. I'm gonna leave this one in the Silver Age for Man of Steel. Who is your favorite Transformer of all time? It can be an Autobot or a Decepticon. Put that in the comment section down below. Please like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.